UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia, Whittaker versus Aliskerov just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, recap every single fight, recap my prediction, break down the fight, see what I got right, see what I got wrong. Timestamps in the description if you want to skip to a specific fight. First fight on the card was Zhao Long versus Chang Ho Lee. I picked the underdog, Chang Ho Lee, to get this one done by decision, and he did get it done by split decision. I thought this was the correct scorecard. I did think Chang Ho Lee had the more damaging and more effective shots in rounds 2 and 3. I did think he won 29-28. This is a weird fight. Really, almost all of it took place in the clinch. They were like constantly clinched up. And in the clinch, I think Chang Ho Lee was doing the better work. He was landing the better knees. He had really nice knees in the clinch. And overall, he just got the better of Zhao Long in the clinch. Both of them looked pretty garbage, honestly. You know, we start round 3. They're both extremely gassed. Just bottom of the barrel. Absolute garbage. But I got it right. Split decision, Chang Ho Lee. Pretty garbage fight, but whatever. It's road to the UFC, so what do you expect? Next fight was Magomed Gaziasulov versus Brenson Ribeiro. I picked Magomed dude to win this fight by round 1 KO. Instead, he won by boring-ass majority decision. Another garbage fight where both of them look terrible. Brenson Ribeiro landed a good leg kick in round 1 that really hurt Magomed dude. He immediately started limping, and it just had a really bad reaction to it. And Ribeiro also had the only exciting moment of the fight where he had a guillotine choke, mounted guillotine, but Magomed dude was able to get out. And then the rest of the fight was just boring ass lay and pray from Magomed dude. Two powerful heavy hitters, and it goes to a decision. Absolutely fucking boring. Terrible fight. But Magomed dude wins by majority decision. One of the judges had it 28-28. No clue how. Just moron judges as usual. But yeah, this fight sucked. Magomed won. Let's move on. Next fight up on the card was Kyung Ho Kang versus Muin Gafurov. I picked Muin Gafurov to put a pace on Kyung Ho Kang and win by decision. And that's pretty much what he did. Got it done 30-27. Muin Gafurov still looks pretty sloppy on the feet. He does look much sharper. I'll give him that. He did look a lot crisper, a lot more clean on the feet. He had a really nice combination in round 2, like body, head, finish it off with a leg kick. Really nice combination. End of the third round, had a spinning wheel kick. Almost finished the fight there. He did look much sharper in this fight than he did in his last few fights. I'll give him that. But man, he still can overextend. He's still throwing those big looping hooks. Not a lot of straight shots. I would like to see him implement more straight shots. Not as many, big overhands or looping hooks. Kyung Ho Kang was slipping and getting in on takedowns on some of these sloppy shots. Tighten it up a little bit more straight shots, use that jab a little bit more. I'd like to see that from him. But yeah, pretty decent fight compared to the first two we watched, actually. Gafurov looked a little improved. He needs to shave that back hair off. Looks absolutely disgusting. But he got it done 30-27. Pretty simple fight to judge. Pretty simple fight to score, in my opinion. Thought that was clear, 30-27. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Nicholas Dalby. I picked Rinat Fakhretdinov to win a 29-28 decision, and he won a 29-28 split decision. I didn't trust in Rinat Fakhretdinov. I didn't think he was going to finish Dalby in round 1, and at the end of the day, if Rinat Fakhretdinov does not finish you in round 1, he has nothing for you in the later rounds. I thought he was a little overrated after his last draw, but this fight just confirms it. This guy has nothing for you after round 1. I mean, the last round of that fight, he's just shooting double leg, all getting stuff, just holding on for dear life. Absolutely nothing left in the tank. And this was a close fight. A lot of people were giving it to Dalby. I did think Rinat won. But man, I don't think this guy can go very high in the rankings. I mean, all you got to do, survive round 1, and he has nothing left. I mean, that's just how it is. He has nothing left in the tank after round 1. So yeah, I don't see Rinat going too high in the rankings. Maybe borderline top 10. Maybe he can win a fight just inside the top 10. Maybe. But man, I don't see a high ceiling for this guy. But he got it done against Dalby, who's a tough guy to beat. He's 9-1 in his last 10, so that's a good win. But, got to slow your roll on Renat after that fight. Next fight on the card was Muhammad Naimov versus Felipe Lima. I picked Felipe Lima to get this one done by decision. And he went out there in the third round and submitted Muhammad Naimov on short notice, up a weight class. Very impressive. Very impressive win from Felipe Lima. Incredible performance. I thought it was 1-1 going into round 3. I know some people had Muhammad Naimov up 2 rounds. I thought Felipe Lima clearly won the first round. But maybe I'm blind. Maybe I missed something. It doesn't matter anyway. I mean, this is an incredible performance from Felipe Lima. Unbelievable. This guy's a kickboxer. Primarily a kickboxer. Really elite striker. You saw that in the first round. And he goes out there in the third round and submits Muhammad Naimov, who has never been finished before in his entire career. Felipe Lima chokes him out. This guy hasn't had a submission win since 2017. Just so impressive. Incredibly impressive performance from Felipe Lima. And he's a natural bantamweight. His next fight in the UFC is going to be at bantamweight, almost certainly, unless he decides to move up. And I actually think he's fought at flyweight before. So to go in there up to featherweight on short notice and choke out Muhammad Naimov, just incredible. Unbelievable performance from Felipe Lima on short notice. The best fight of the card up to this point. Really happy for him coming in like that, short notice, and getting a win like that. That's your one shot to make the UFC. Who knows if you'll get another shot and make the most of it. And he does. He goes out there and chokes out Muhammad Naimov. Incredible performance. I can't wait to see what's next for him. Moving up the card, we got Nasrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon. This was my lock of the card. I said Nasrat Haqparast would win a dominant 30-27 decision. Instead, he won a very close 29-28 decision that arguably could go to Jared Gordon. And I scored the fight for Jared Gordon. I thought Jared Gordon won rounds 2 and 3. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care that Jared Gordon got robbed, because Jared Gordon has no talent. He is one of the most untalented individuals I've ever seen in the UFC. This guy was 0 of 13 on takedowns, and he wins fights by walking forward with his slow, labored shots and just walking you down and putting you against the cage. He just wins off his cardio. He just wins off his cardio. He constantly is throwing these slow, labored shots, but he never stops throwing the slow, labored shots, and they somehow keep landing on Nasrat Haqparast. Got to work on the striking defense, Nasrat Haqparast. I'm glad they gave it to Nasrat, because at least Nasrat Haqparast does have some good speed, some good boxing, some really good boxing. He had really nice combinations. Jared Gordon is he's tough, and he's got good cardio. That's it. He's a good, dirty boxer. If Jared Gordon doesn't get inside, make it dirty, throw these nasty shots with no technique, just walk you down, slow shots, that's how he wins. And if he can't do that, he's not going to win. So I'm glad we got to avoid Jared Gordon getting a top 15 opponent, because, quite frankly, this guy is not good. And I'm not saying Nasrat Haqparast is some world beater, but I think he is more talented than Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon is slow on the feet. He's got awful takedowns. And even if he does get you down, he's not going to hold you there. Jared Gordon has no talent. He should have won this fight, though. I will say he should have won this fight. This was a robbery, but I don't care, because we got saved from watching Jared Gordon fight a top 15 opponent where he would probably get smoked unless he's fighting some bum at the very bottom. It's honestly incredible that he has this many close fights with his style, the way he fights. Slow boxing combinations, no power, no takedowns. And he somehow arguably beat Paddy Pimblett. He somehow arguably beat Nasrat Haqparast. It's honestly really impressive. And he should have won this fight. But I'm glad they gave it to Nasrat, because, if he improves on a couple things, maybe he can win a top 15 fight. I don't think that's the same with Jared Gordon, in my personal opinion. First fight on the main card, Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdemir. Johnny Walker's back, boys. Let's just say the gloves are not an issue. All right, if Johnny Walker went this fight without getting in a Looney Tunes KO animation, then I was ready to take the gloves back. All right, KO power doesn't exist because Johnny Walker went 3 rounds without getting chinned. But nope, the gloves are fine, fellas. Johnny Walker gets put in another Looney Tunes animation by Volkan Oezdemir twitching on the canvas in round 1. Man, Johnny Walker, he just cannot take a clean shot. It's honestly pathetic at this point. This guy has no chin. He's built like an absolute behemoth of a human. He's like 6'6", but you touch him on the chin and he falls backwards like a goofy goober and starts twitching on the canvas. It's a shame because we know with that size and that frame and his explosiveness, he could be dangerous at light heavyweight, but he cannot take a clean shot on the chin. Honest to God, I will never pick Johnny Walker to win another fight unless he's fighting some absolute NPC bot. If anyone with power and decent striking technique fights Johnny Walker, they will beat him. Unless Johnny Walker flukes a flying knee or something like that. Johnny Walker, his chin is just done. It's done. And, it's probably been done, but now it's cooked. It's over. It sucks to see because Johnny Walker is entertaining. He does have a fun fight style, but, man, he cannot take a shot. Oezdemir gets it done. I picked Johnny Walker by round 1 KO, I think. I thought Johnny Walker would use his explosiveness and his unorthodox technique, the flying knees, spinning elbows, whatnot. But he went out there and he tried to strike a technical striking battle with Volkan Oezdemir. And I said, if he goes out there and does that, he's going to get pieced apart. And he did. If you're Johnny Walker, you can't go out there and try to fight with technique. You got to give up being a technical fighter at this point in your career. If you're Johnny Walker, no point. Just go out there and be wild. That's who you are. That's how you win fights. You got to be dirty. You got to be wild. You can't fight a technical kickboxing fight because your chin sucks. You don't have a good jab. You don't have a good 1-2. You need your explosiveness. You need your flying knees. You need your spinning elbows. You need your whatever. Sucks to see for Johnny Walker. I want to see him bounce back. I like watching Johnny Walker. He's fun to watch, but the chin is just non-existent at this point. Next fight on the card was Shara Magomedov versus Antonio Tricoli. Shara Bullet destroyed Antonio Tricoli because Antonio Tricoli is an absolute NPC bot. That's not an exaggeration. Antonio Tricoli just stood there in front of Shara Bullet and did nothing, except sometimes he would shoot a takedown, and then it would immediately get stuffed, and he'd go back to doing nothing. Absolute bot. He was never going to win this fight. He came in on short notice. He hasn't fought since 2021. Shara Magomedov is Trevor from GTA, and Antonio Tricoli is one of the NPCs that's driving by in the cars you steal, So there's just levels. He was never going to win this fight. NPC, we learned nothing that we didn't already know about Shara Magomedov. We knew he had fast kicks. We knew he was a dangerous striker. It was always the grappling. Is his grappling better? We don't know because, sure, he stuffed the takedowns of Antonio Tricoli, and he did blatantly cheat to stop the one takedown that Tricoli was going to get. He blatantly grabbed the fence and got away with it. So we don't know what happens if he gets to the ground. Can he get back up? Probably, because it's Antonio Tricoli. But again, this is just kind of a pointless fight. I understand 2 opponents pulled out and, it's not his fault. But we learned nothing. We already knew he was a dangerous kicker, fast kicks, dangerous striker. We already knew that. We learned nothing new. His grappling wasn't really tested because Antonio Tricoli hasn't been in the cage since 2021. It's what we expected. Shara Magomedov destroyed him on the feet, picked him apart with those really quick kicks, and eventually finished him. Standing TKO, and he dropped him at the very end, and the ref stopped it. But it wasn't like he put him out cold or something like super impressive. I mean, he looked good, but, he took Antonio Tricoli into round 3, the NPC bot himself. I would have liked to see a round 1 finish. I'm not going to dig into him too hard. He won the fight. He KO'd him. It's whatever. He did what he was supposed to do. I just wish we got to see Shara Magomedov against a slightly better opponent so he could test his grappling a little more. That's his one weakness. But good win from Shara Bullet. You can't really rag on him too hard. He did what he was supposed to do. So, you can't sit here and trash him, say, oh, garbage, whatever. He got the job done. He won. It's not like he lost or got exposed. So, good win from Shara Magomedov, but, it's whatever. Don't really learn anything from this fight. Feature fight on the card, Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. I picked Kelvin Gastelum to win this fight by decision. I said he would use his takedowns to beat Daniel Rodriguez. and he did in round 3. But before that, in rounds 1 and 2, it was mainly a stand-up fight. Gastelum did have one takedown in round 1, I think, but then Daniel Rodriguez was like immediately back up. It really didn't have any impact on the fight. He didn't land any shots or have any sub attempts or something like that. But it was a pretty close fight on the feet. I thought Kelvin Gastelum won round 1 on the feet, and then I thought Daniel Rodriguez got the better of it in round 2. But both of them were really close rounds. 2 judges scored it 30-27 for Gastelum, which, I mean, I could see him winning all 3 rounds, but I think 2 judges scoring it 30-27 is kind of insane. I think 29-28 is more accurate. I mean, I'm not mad at 30-27. Like, I can see him winning rounds 1 and 2. He definitely won round 3, and you can argue that he won both of the first 2 rounds. But I personally think Daniel Rodriguez did take round 2. But yeah, I mean, Daniel Rodriguez, he didn't really throw any kicks. It was weird. He's a kickboxer. He's not an elite kickboxer by any means, but, you know, he's a kickboxer. And there was no kicks. He was mainly boxing with Kelvin Gastelum. Really weird. But yeah, Kelvin Gastelum had pretty decent head movement, good cardio, got the takedown around 3, obviously missing weight, got the added strength advantage, good boxing, good takedowns, just a pretty average, good performance from Kelvin Gastelum. Co-main event, Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. I picked Pavlovich to win by round 1 KO because technique doesn't matter in heavyweight, or so I thought. But no, Volkov goes out there and out-techniques Sergey Pavlovich because he is the better mixed martial artist. He has always been more technical. He's more well-rounded. He could have mixed in the takedowns. He didn't even need to. He pieced apart Sergey Pavlovich at range for 3 straight rounds. Absolutely dominated him. I mean, Sergey Pavlovich's face is unrecognizable. Volkov doesn't even have a mark on him. Absolute domination from Alexander Volkov, and I'm upset that I didn't pick him. Because in my prediction video, I was saying, you know, Alexander Volkov, he's more technical, he is the better fighter, but it doesn't matter because it's heavyweight and Pavlovich has 15 minutes to find one shot on your chin. And you know, with Volkov, he's 6'7", he's got long legs, and he's keeping him at bay with these kicks. Really nice jab, landed that jab all night. It's hard for Pavlovich to get in. Even though he does have the reach advantage on Volkov, it's hard for Pavlovich to get in and find that shot because Volkov's movement is really good. His head movement was really good. His footwork was really good. And anytime Pavlovich would try to push in and make something happen, Volkov would sting him with a jab, sting him with a 1-2, lateral movement, left, right, and then he's out. Pavlovich could never get him against the cage where he wanted him. Volkov just controlled the entire fight. Absolute domination. I'm glad because I always hate to see fighters like Volkov, super underrated. I mean, he's one of the few heavyweights that can wrestle and is a submission threat. Super technical on the feet. You get hit on the chin from Tai Tuivasa and you get dropped like Cyril Gane. You know, that shot's any more perfect. That shot could put Cyril Gane out. You know, a fat guy like Tai Tuivasa is that close to beating Cyril Gane, who is technically the way better striker. So I like to see the guys with good technique, well-rounded, you know, actually technical, beat the guys that are just meatheads with power. Yeah, really good fight. Really wish I stuck with my gut and picked him, but it's whatever. Glad to see him get the win. Really good fight, too. Main event, Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. Robert Whittaker puts him out cold in round 1. Pillow hands Whittaker puts Ikram Aliskerov on skates and then finishes him off with a brutal uppercut to put him out cold in under 2 minutes. Wow. Holy fraud check. I was never going to pick Aliskerov to win this fight. If you picked Aliskerov to win this fight, you are delusional or you're hoping for a one-shot miracle KO. Robert Whittaker was coming off a training camp where he pretty much only wrestled for Chimaev. That's the main thing he was preparing for is the wrestling of Khamzat Chimaev. Aliskerov was never going to go out there and ragdoll him. Whittaker already has elite takedown defense. Now he's harping on it. That's like the one thing he's harping on in this camp. It's going to be at the highest level it's ever been. And Aliskerov, he beat Warley Alves and Phil No Chin Hawes. And in the Phil Hawes finish, he's falling all over himself, slipping, overextending on shots, just looks ugly. This guy, like I said, Does he have the power to finish Robert Whittaker? Sure, he does. But Whittaker has been at the top of the game for years. He has faced many people that are light years above Ikram Aliskerov, and Ikram Aliskerov has fought no one good. And I know what you're saying. He fought Khamzat Chimaev. You're right. That's the only thing people ever talk about. He fought Khamzat Chimaev, and you know what happened? He got flatline KO'd. Conveniently, the only two people he has ever fought that are UFC level, high-level UFC opponents. He got flatline KO'd by both of them. And Robert Whittaker hasn't KO'd a soul in I don't know how long. And he flatlined this guy in under 2 minutes. So it speaks volumes that leading up to this fight, all the hype is, oh, this guy's only lost to Chimaev. He's 15-1. Only one loss, and it's to Chimaev. What a monster. No one's ever talking about his wins. You know why? Because he has no good wins. So bringing up, oh, his only loss is Chimaev. Yeah, it's the only good fighter he's fought. Huh, yeah, it's crazy how that works. The only guy with any sort of talent that he's fought flatlined him in round 1. And look what happens when he fights a top 5 middleweight in the world in Robert Whittaker. Flatlined in 2 minutes. This guy's a fraud. He was never ready for this step up in competition. And it's whatever because it's short notice. I'll forgive it. But let's not pretend they weren't trying to match this guy up with Paulo Costa. Like, they were still trying to rise this guy up the rankings. It's not even that, oh, he fought Whittaker. Dude, it's on short notice. It's not like they were rushing him up the rankings. He took it on short notice. He saved the card. Before they were matching him with Paulo Costa after beating Warley Alves. They were still pushing him up the rankings. So it's still annoying. Like, I understand this is different. You know, short notice, save the card, whatever, respect. But he didn't even deserve the Costa fight, and they were giving that to him. And who knows what Costa does to this dude? I mean, if Robert Whittaker's chinning you in 2 minutes, and it's not like Costa's some one-shot knockout artist like everyone thinks he is, but my God, if Pillow Hands Whittaker's making you do the chicken dance and putting you out cold in 2 minutes, Paulo Costa can do it too. So I don't even know. I mean, I don't even mind if they give this guy like someone just inside the top 15, you know, like maybe some guy just outside the rankings. Rematch him with Andre Muniz. I know he pulled out, rebooked that fight. That's fine. But he is not ready for this top level, and today proved that 100%. But yeah, that was UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia. Pretty good card. Pretty decent performances on the card. Obviously, Whittaker. Volkov looked really good. Volkan Ozdemir got a nice KO. Shara Bullet looked all right. Felipe Lima, the newcomer, had a really good win. So yeah, pretty decent card all in all. It started off pretty boring, but as it went on, it got better. As for predictions, on this card, I went 9-2. The only two I got wrong were Johnny Walker and Sergey Pavlovich. I got every other fight correct. So that puts me at 122-63 on picks this year, 30-10 on my locks this year. All time 135-68, and all time record for locks is now 33-10. So yeah, UFC 303 next week. Super excited for that. My picks will be out Monday as always, and I'll see you then.